The player we are talking about today is a name the whole world knows, a name that echoes in every stadium, in every home, in every heart that beats for football. But before the bright lights, before the roaring crowds, before the trophies, there was just a little boy. A boy from a small island far away from the glamour of the game. This is not just a story. It's a journey you will feel in your soul. A journey that will touch your heart so deeply you might want to close your eyes, not out of boredom, but because the emotions are too heavy to carry with your eyes open. Yet I promise you, every second will pull you deeper in. No yawns, no distractions, just you and the legend of Cristiano Ronaldo. Madeira, Portugal, a place of breathtaking beauty and quiet struggles. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born here in a modest home on February 5th, 1985. His family didn't have much. His father, José Diniz Aveiro, worked as a kitman at a local football club. His mother, Maria Dolores, worked as a cook and cleaner. Money was tight. Life was simple. But dreams were big. From the moment he could run, Cristiano was chasing a ball. Not a brand new ball from the store, but whatever he could find. Sometimes a used, worn-out football. Sometimes just a bundle of rags tied together. And yet in his eyes, it was the greatest ball in the world. The streets of Madeira became his first stadium. He would play for hours, ignoring the hot sun, ignoring hunger, ignoring even his mother's calls to come home. Neighbors would watch and say, "That boy, there's something in him." But no one could have imagined what he would become. At school, Ronaldo's talent shone so brightly that it outshined everything else. But he wasn't a top student. His focus, his heart, his soul, all belonged to football. By the age of 8, he had joined Andorinha, a small local team where his father worked. His skills were raw, but there was speed, there was passion, there was hunger in his game. People in Madeira began to notice. Coaches saw that this boy didn't just play football, he lived football. And deep inside, Cristiano knew he was meant for more. He didn't want to just be good in Madeira, he wanted the world. But to get there, he had to leave everything behind. His friends, his family, his island home. At the age of 12, with a heart full of hope and eyes full of dreams, Cristiano took a step that would change his life forever. He left Madeira to join the Sporting Lisbon Academy on mainland Portugal. Alone, scared, but ready. This was the beginning. Lisbon, a city of wide streets, roaring trams, and endless noise. For a 12-year-old boy from the quiet island of Madeira, it felt like another planet. Cristiano arrived at the Sporting Lisbon Academy with a small bag, a pair of boots, and eyes full of dreams. But dreams are light, and reality is heavy. The first nights were the hardest. The dormitory walls felt cold, the bed unfamiliar, and the silence after lights out made him miss the sound of his mother's voice. He would look out of the window at the city lights and wonder, was this the right choice? Am I strong enough for this? But deep down he already knew there was no going back. Training at Sporting Lisbon was nothing like the streets of Madeira. Here, every player was talented. Every player wanted to be the best. And if you weren't good enough, you were replaced. No excuses, no second chances. Cristiano was smaller than most, but he was faster. Lightning fast. He ran like the ball belonged to him, like no one could take it away. But speed wasn't enough. He had to prove himself every single day, and yet it wasn't just the training. It was the loneliness, the distance from home, the accent that made him sound different from the Lisbon boys. Sometimes the teasing hurt. They called him crybaby when he got upset. But they didn't know. It wasn't weakness. It was fire. One day after a long training session, Cristiano sat alone on the bench, sweat dripping, legs aching. A coach walked by and said, "Ronaldo, you have talent, but talent is nothing without hard work." Those words stuck in his mind like a tattoo. From that day, he trained harder than anyone else. First to arrive, last to leave. Every sprint, every shot, every pass. Perfect or not, he repeated them again and again. Slowly, his name began to spread around the academy. Coaches noticed his discipline. Teammates began to respect his hunger. And when the first opportunity came to play for Sporting's youth team, he grabbed it with both hands. At just 16, he played with a maturity beyond his years. His pace, his skill, his fearlessness, they made people stop and watch. Scouts began to write his name in their notebooks. Something was happening, and in Cristiano's heart, he could feel it. The first steps toward greatness were already being taken. 2002. Cristiano was just 17 years old, But he was no longer just a boy from Madeira. He had fought through the loneliness, the hard training, the endless drills, and now his moment had arrived. Sporting Lisbon's first team. A real professional debut. A real stadium. Real pressure. The locker room was tense before the match. Senior players sat quietly, taping their boots, fixing their shin guards. Cristiano sat in the corner, his heart beating so fast he could hear it in his ears. He tied his laces slowly, breathing deep. The coach looked at him. "Ronaldo, are you ready?" Cristiano didn't hesitate. "Yes, mister. I'm ready." When he stepped out onto the pitch, the lights felt brighter, the crowd louder. He could smell the grass, he could hear the chants. And for a second, he thought about the streets of Madeira. The old ball, his mother's voice, his father's quiet smile. The whistle blew. The game began. From the first touch it was clear. This wasn't just another teenager. He moved with confidence, his runs were sharp, his dribbles electric. Every time he got the ball, the crowd leaned forward, expecting something special. And then, it happened. A quick pass, a burst of speed, one defender, two defenders, gone. Cristiano was through on goal. He struck the ball clean and hard. The net shook. The crowd roared. In that moment, something changed. It wasn't just the goal. It was the feeling. The world had just seen a glimpse of what was coming. After the match, the media began asking, "Who is this young kid from Sporting?" Scouts from Europe's biggest clubs started making calls. And somewhere in Manchester, England, a certain legendary manager was about to hear his name for the first time. For Cristiano, it was more than just a debut. It was proof. Proof that the boy who left home at 12, who cried alone in his dorm, who was mocked for his accent, belonged on the biggest stage. This was only the beginning. August 6th, 2003. Sporting Lisbon versus Manchester United. A preseason friendly. At least that's what it looked like on paper. But for Cristiano Ronaldo, this wasn't just a game. This was destiny. He walked out onto the pitch at the Estadio José Alvalade, his heart steady but his mind sharp. On the other side, Manchester United, a team full of legends, a team he had only ever seen on TV. Players like Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Ruud van Nistelrooy, giants of the game. The match began, and from the very first touch, Cristiano was electric. He ran at defenders with fearless speed, twisting, turning, leaving them chasing shadows. The crowd erupted every time he touched the ball. In the stands, Sir Alex Ferguson watched closely. He had seen good players before, but this was different. This boy wasn't just playing football, he was creating magic. A long ball came to Ronaldo on the wing. He controlled it with one touch, flicked it past the fullback and exploded forward. The defender tried to catch him. But it was like chasing the wind. Ronaldo's cross flew into the box, almost creating another goal. The Manchester United players looked at each other. They knew. By the final whistle, Sporting had beaten Manchester United 3-1. But the score wasn't the real story. The real story was that every single United player walked into their dressing room talking about one thing. "We have to sign that kid." Later that night, as the United squad flew back to England, they told Sir Alex again, "Boss, you need to get him, now." Within days, the deal was done. Cristiano Ronaldo, just 18 years old, was on his way to the Premier League. The boy from Madeira was about to step into one of the biggest stages in world football, wearing the famous red shirt. And as the plane took off for Manchester, Cristiano sat by the window, looking out at the clouds. He whispered to himself, "This is my chance. I won't waste it." The world was about to meet Cristiano Ronaldo. August 16th, 2003. Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Bolton Wanderers. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't even in the starting 11 that day. He sat on the bench, his new red shirt clinging to his shoulders, his eyes scanning the stadium in awe. This was Old Trafford, the theatre of dreams. The chants of 67,000 fans echoed through the air like thunder. Sir Alex Ferguson turned to him in the second half. "Ronaldo, get ready." As he stood up to warm, the crowd noticed. A ripple of excitement spread across the stands. They didn't know much about him yet, but they were about to find out. The moment he stepped onto the pitch, everything changed. He played with fearless energy. Step overs, lightning runs, quick turns. The defenders didn't know what hit them. In just 30 minutes, he had transformed the game, helping United to a comfortable 4-0 win. The fans were on their feet. The newspapers the next morning called him the kid with magic in his boots. But magic wasn't enough in England. The Premier League was physical, unforgiving. Defenders were stronger, faster, and far less patient. In those early months, Cristiano faced heavy criticism. Too many tricks, they said. Not enough end product. Some even called him selfish. But Sir Alex knew. He saw the hunger in training. He saw the hours Cristiano spent after everyone else had gone home, practicing free kicks, improving his finishing, building his body. Day after day, week after week. In the dressing room, older players like Roy Keane and Ryan Giggs pushed him harder. You want to be the best? Earn it. And Cristiano listened. He took every criticism, every tough tackle, every piece of advice, and turned it into fuel. Slowly, the boy from Madeira began to adapt. The step-overs stayed, but now they had purpose. The speed remained, but now it came with precision. The goals started to come. By the end of his first season, he had already won his first trophy, the FA Cup, scoring in the final against Millwall. As he lifted that silverware, he thought about the journey, from the streets of Madeira to the Wembley stage. And he knew this was just the first chapter. By 2006, Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer just a promising youngster. He was becoming one of Manchester United's most dangerous weapons. But it hadn't been an easy climb. He had faced the boos, the harsh tackles, the headlines that doubted him. And now, it was time to answer all of them. The 2006-07 season was the turning point. Ronaldo returned from the summer stronger, physically, mentally, emotionally. His once skinny frame was now muscle and speed combined. His decision-making sharper, his finishing deadlier. Every match he seemed unstoppable. Long-range strikes, curling free kicks, dazzling runs down the wing. The Premier League had no answer. His partnership with Wayne Rooney became a nightmare for defenders. United's attack was electric and Ronaldo was at the heart of it. But it wasn't just about skill, it was about the mentality. In training, he still arrived first, left last. Rain, wind, freezing cold, it didn't matter. He was building himself piece by piece into the complete footballer. That season, United lifted the Premier League trophy and Cristiano's stats were staggering. 23 goals from midfield, countless assists, endless highlights. Suddenly, he wasn't just a fan favorite, he was one of the best in the world. The following season, 2007-08, he reached another level entirely. 53 appearances, 42 goals, Champions League glory in Moscow, Premier League champions again. And there, in the final against Chelsea, it was Cristiano who scored United's only goal in regular time. A towering header, pure determination in the air. That year, the world finally gave him the recognition he had been chasing. In December 2008, standing on a stage in Paris, Cristiano Ronaldo was crowned the Ballon d'Or winner, the best footballer in the world. From a boy in Madeira kicking a worn-out ball, to holding the most prestigious individual trophy in football. But deep down he knew this wasn't the end. This was only the beginning of something bigger. Summer 2009. The football world stood still as the news broke. Cristiano Ronaldo to Real Madrid for £80 million. The most expensive transfer in football history. For some, that number was insane. For Cristiano, it was a challenge, a statement. They believe I'm worth it. Now I have to prove it. When he landed in Madrid, the reception was something out of a dream. Over 80,000 fans filled the Santiago Bernabeu just to see him unveiled. Flashing cameras, deafening cheers, banners waving, the air heavy with expectation. Cristiano stood there, holding the white shirt with the number 9, smiling but serious. He wasn't just joining any club. He was stepping into the kingdom of legends. Alfredo Di Stefano, Raúl, Zidane. And now, him. The Spanish press wasted no time. Can he do it here? Can he live up to the price tag? The questions were endless, but Cristiano had heard them before, in England, in Portugal, and every single time he had answered with performances. From the very first match he delivered, goal after goal, explosive sprints down the wing, free kicks that bent like they defied physics. The Bernabeu fell in love, but the challenge in Spain was different. This wasn't just about scoring, it was about facing Barcelona at their absolute peak. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, a team that dominated world football, and Cristiano's mission was clear: bring Real Madrid back to the top. The battles were intense. El Clasico became more than a match. It was war. And with every clash, Ronaldo grew fiercer, sharper, more determined. By his second season, he had already broken Real Madrid's single-season goal record. By his third, he was smashing records that had stood for decades. The pressure? He didn't just handle it. He thrived under it. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't just living up to the £80 million fee, he was making it look like a bargain. By 2013, Cristiano Ronaldo had turned the Santiago Bernabeu into his personal stage. The white shirt clung to his frame like armor, the number 7 glowing under the floodlights. Every time he stepped onto the pitch, there was electricity in the air. Because everyone knew something special was about to happen. He was no longer just a goal scorer. He was a machine. Headers, volleys, long-range missiles, delicate chips. There was no weakness. He could destroy you with speed, beat you with power, or break your spirit with precision. Then came 2014. La Decima. The dream that had haunted Real Madrid for 12 long years, their 10th Champions League title. And in Lisbon, against Atletico Madrid, it was Cristiano's goal in extra time that sealed it. Shirt off, muscles flexed, a roar to the heavens, a moment burned into football history. But Cristiano was far from done. Season after season, he kept raising the bar. In the 2014-15 campaign, he scored 61 goals in all competitions, numbers that seemed impossible. In 2016, he led Madrid to their 11th Champions League and then incredibly defended the title in 2017, something no team had done in the Champions League era. And through it all, the records fell. Fastest player to 100 Champions League goals, most goals in a single Champions League season, Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, 450 goals in just 438 games. The duels with Lionel Messi became the stuff of legend. Every weekend, the world watched as two of the greatest players in history pushed each other to superhuman levels. By 2018, Cristiano had won 4 Champions League titles in 5 years, countless individual awards, and the love of millions. His legacy at Madrid was carved in stone. But deep inside, he felt it was time for a new chapter. And just like that, the King of Madrid would shock the football world again. July 10th, 2018. A date Real Madrid fans will never forget. The news broke like thunder across the football world. Cristiano Ronaldo is leaving. 9 seasons, 4 Champions League titles, 450 goals, countless memories, and now it was over. At his farewell, there were no fireworks, no grand speeches, just a letter, heartfelt, honest, and pure. Cristiano thanked Madrid, the fans, his teammates, and the city that had become his home. He wrote, "I believe the time has come for a new stage in my life." And that new stage was in Italy, Juventus Football Club. For many, it was a shock. He had conquered England, he had ruled Spain. Why leave now? But that's the thing about Cristiano. He doesn't take the easy road. He wanted another challenge, another league, another mountain to climb. When he arrived in Turin, the reception was unreal. Thousands lined the streets just to catch a glimpse of him. At the Allianz Stadium, fans chanted his name as he held the black and white jersey aloft. The mission was clear: bring Juventus European glory. From his very first season, he delivered. Goals against rivals, last-minute winners, and that unforgettable hat-trick against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. A performance so fierce, so emotional, it reminded the world exactly who he was. In Serie A, he adapted quickly. Different style, different pace, but same hunger. Back-to-back league titles, Player of the Year awards, and a relentless drive that inspired his teammates. But for Cristiano, every goal, every trophy, every record was fuel for the same fire he had since Madeira, to be remembered as the greatest. August 27th, 2021. It felt like the football universe had come full circle. Cristiano Ronaldo, back at Manchester United. The news broke in the morning, and by afternoon the world was on fire. Social media collapsed under the weight of millions of posts. Fans rushed to Old Trafford in disbelief. It wasn't just a signing. It was a reunion with destiny. 12 years after leaving for Madrid, Cristiano walked back into the theatre of dreams. Older, wiser, decorated with more trophies than anyone could count. But with the same burning ambition. The debut was pure cinema. Newcastle United, Old Trafford packed, the roar deafening. And when he scored, not once but twice, the stadium erupted. Every fan, every child wearing his shirt, every person watching from home felt that same magic from years ago. But this wasn't the same Manchester United he had left. The challenges were bigger, the competition fiercer. Yet Ronaldo still carried the team in crucial moments. Champions League nights where he scored last-minute winners, league matches where his goals kept hope alive. Off the pitch, he was more than a player. He was a mentor, a leader in the dressing room. The young stars looked at him not just for skill, but for an example of discipline, work ethic, and an unbreakable mentality. Every game, every goal, every celebration reminded the world, age is just a number, greatness is forever. Cristiano's journey, from a small boy in Madeira to the #1 player in the world, is not just a story of talent, it's a story of sacrifice, resilience, and the belief that no dream is too big. And as the sun sets on each chapter of his career, one truth remains: Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't just play football, he defines it.